Over the past 2 weeks, we have gotten over 20,000 new subscribers on this YouTube channel. And with that, I have seen hundreds and hundreds of people leaving comments on the channel saying, what does this kid do? How does he make his money? Who is this? And that's largely in part to the driving my Lamborghini to my old high school video when I shipped my Lamborghini back home and made that whole fun vlog. But there's been a lot of questions that have somewhat gone unanswered. So this video in particular is sort of the what I do, how I got it started specifically with my main business that is e-commerce, okay? So I want to explain how I got started with that a little bit, like what that business model actually looked like, being as practical as possible so that someone who is interested could start it, but also how it's evolved and the different types of e-commerce I do now. So buckle your seatbelt. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video, so if you're going to stick with me, drop a like down below just to let me know. Now, if you're a little bit more advanced with e-commerce, maybe you already have something going, you're making good money with it, this video probably isn't exactly for you, but I'm sure there's going to be a couple of small points and tips, primarily with suppliers, inventory, and marketing that will help you out, okay? So before we get really deep into this, I do plan on doing a live stream. We have almost nailed down a date. So if you guys plan on being that, make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you can be alerted when I post the next video, because that's when I'm going to be announcing the date for the free live stream we're doing, okay? So check that out. And before we dive into my computer, I have a whole presentation mapped out. Again, we're probably going to be sitting here for 20 to 30 minutes. I want to make sure I give you guys 2 separate resources that you can use, because people ask all the time and they don't know these exist. So please reference the description very briefly, and you can hit the like button while you're down there. I'd greatly appreciate that. But there's 2 things there that I want you to take a look at. One, for the first time in about 30 days, we just reopened for the second time ever the opportunity where you guys can have my personal website development team build you out a Shopify store preloaded with any winning products where everything is set up for you already, so that you don't have to deal with the research. And we're going to talk about how to do that stuff today, but you're making sure that you're eliminating that. We're going to build that out for you and do everything. So we're just opening that back up now. We've started to build out a development team. This is still a new offer, so be patient and work with us. But a lot of people loved this when I first opened it up. And I know it's something that'll help a lot of people out. So that's why I'm trying to offer it. It just takes a lot of work, like 5 or 6 hours for every single project that we do. So you can check that one out. That's the custom design website. And also, for those of you who are not enrolled in our full 30-day Academy program, I want you to check out the $7 trial we have for that, because we cover how to build websites, how to find products, and how to start your Facebook ads and start getting sales coming in. So that, in my opinion, you don't have to go get the full Academy, and there's other ways to learn, but that is going to be the single best starting point for you to determine if e-commerce is for you, because that will help you get the ball rolling. That's the whole point of it. And then if it is for you and it's something you like, maybe it's starting to work, then you can consider enrolling in the full Academy, and we'd be more than happy to help you out and show you everything that we know. Okay, so that is the main point inside of here. Let's jump inside of my computer, and we're going to talk about everything you should know, what beginners should know, and the different strategies you can use to become successful, specifically drop shipping in 2020. All right, so inside of here, there's a couple of main points I want to focus on. Like I promised in the beginning of this video, I'm going to kind of run you through the way that e-commerce has evolved for me, because drop shipping specifically is the way that I made my first $1 million in sales online. And that was really cool because, granted, not all of that was profit, and I will explain that momentarily. That is what allowed me, that direct income stream helped me put money away. Immediately when I started making money, like I think I had my first like 20 or 30,000 in my bank, all of it. And this was scary. I clicked send on PayPal to my friend. All of that money, except for I think $300 to my name, went into investing into a software company that still runs to this day. That's a separate business. So reinvesting all of it, it allowed me to do that. But that also allowed me to eventually save up more money, make sure I was good for any rainy days or other investments. And then I was able to purchase my first vehicle, which some of you might remember, my BMW M4, and then subsequently move out. And it was actually, I think, exactly like 20 days or 25 days after I moved out when we officially launched kind of the education side of things. So drop shipping in itself is not the primary thing that I do now, right? I'm still operating in the e-commerce space, but it's a different type of e-commerce. So we're going to get into all that, but drop shipping is the fastest, simplest way, in my opinion, to still make that first dollar, that first X amount, whatever that is for you. So drop shipping just means that you're never touching a product, you're never seeing it, but it also somewhat comes with the idea that it's going to take 2, 3, 4 weeks for a customer to get their product. And I'm going to show you in this video how you can get around that. Okay. So this is going to be kind of a rundown on what you should know. And I want to just jump right in with drop shipping versus inventory. So I'm going to give you guys some references, some examples of what I'm doing personally, because with my stores now, it has a completely different approach because I don't want my customers to wait 21 to maybe 45 days for their product. That's ridiculous. At most, my customers wait like 10 to 12 days. Most of it's like 5 to 8 days shipping. So I want to kind of break this down like a pros and cons list. We're just going to kind of jump onto all these right away. So your upfront cost. If I'm holding inventory, for an example, we just placed an order. This is for Q4. It's already this time of year. I'm filming this a few days before I post it. We've already ordered a bunch of inventory. However, that newer store that some of you guys might have seen me posting on my Instagram, we started a few weeks back. It's already done like $34,000 this week. It's doing about $6,000 a day. I have to order more inventory for that. So that is not drop shipped because I wanted faster shipping. I'm trying to build it into a longer term brand. And at the same time, I wanted cheaper product cost. But in order to achieve that, I have to order inventory. So I just placed an order for 6,000 additional units of this product from my manufacturer. So that is an upfront cost, right? That is something where upfront I have to pay, that's a lower price product, it's like $3.30, but times 6,000, right? So it's a decent little upfront. I'm basically reinvesting like all the money we're making from it right back into the inventory, right? That'll help it grow. So now the shipping times as well, if you're drop shipping, it takes time because each of those orders has to come one by one from a manufacturer or supplier, usually in China. So it doesn't mean it's bad or the product's bad from China. I mean, the regular crap that you buy from Walmart is usually from China. However, with the shipping times, it's usually going to take about 3 weeks. It can take longer, it can be faster, but that's usually a benchmark, which isn't bad. Just make sure to let your customer know. So for me, that's why I really gravitated over towards inventory because the shipping times is a huge issue. You start having customer complaints, you get a few negative comments, you get some refund requests, and then chargebacks, which can actually hurt your payment processor account. So also, from a perspective of branding long-term, the returning customer. Most of my stores get anywhere from like a 1% to 5% returning customer rate. It's nothing too crazy. It fluctuates. The brands are a little higher than the regular stores. But one of the ways that you can help get more returning customers, which is usually something you don't have to pay for, right? You're not remarketing to someone. They're just coming back. They already bought from you. So it's a very profitable thing to have a lot of returning customers. Like for an example, me at Chipotle. I don't know where I first heard about it. I think it was probably free for them because I heard about it from someone else, but then I started going there like every day, right? So returning customers are huge. So for your brand, you're not going to get a returning customer if it took a month for them to get their product. They kept sending you emails, never heard back. There was no update. It was like blah, blah, blah. It was just a whole bad experience. They're not going to be a returning customer, okay? And that really goes into the branding for the long term. So with inventory, it makes it a lot easier to do that. For an example, all of my products that I hold inventory for, except for one store because it's new, all of it has custom packaging. The custom packaging itself does not cost a lot of money to get, anywhere from 30 to 50 cents, depending on the size of the package. If it's a really big product, it could be more, but that's like custom boxes with our custom color. We got logos, we got, our little quote, our saying, like it is our brand all on this box on every side except for one. So it's a very customized thing, and the customer, the way I think about it, it's like Snapchatable, right? They can take a picture of it, post it on social media, and it will look good. So that's kind of the branding for the long term, which goes right into custom content. So when you have your logo on things and when you actually physically have, a copy of your product, which even if you're drop shipping, you can do this. When I was drop shipping, I would wait 3 to 4 weeks. I would order it from an AliExpress supplier. And I'm going to get into the suppliers I use in a moment, but I would order that product. I would wait for it and I would take photos with it. So for example, back when I was living home in Minnesota, still, starting to scale drop shipping, really figuring that out, I would order products. And a lot of you know who've been here for a while, one of my most original OG spaces 3-4 years ago that I still sell in to this day is the dog niche. So it's kind of a sub niche underneath the whole category of pets. And inside the dog niche, I had a dog. We had a family dog back home growing up. He's a yellow lab. And essentially I would order these products and I would take photos with the product with him. So it was funny, I was able to get like really easy content, just snap a shot with my iPhone, maybe put a filter on it. And it was just custom content, right? Because other people, when you're drop shipping, are usually going to be using the same photos and videos that are supplied by that supplier. So it's always great if you can get something unique. That's just, again, going to help the relationship with your customer. It's going to help that long-term branding, okay? Now, the final thing. I understand that some people have no relationships. I had no relationships. It's not like my dad runs some big e-commerce company or said, here, son, here's a drop shipping store of mine and a bunch of data. It wasn't like that, okay? So for me, I had no relationships entering this space. So how can you work with a manufacturer directly and hold inventory in a warehouse if you have no connections? Well, the short answer is you don't. You go build those connections. So as I started scaling up the dropshipping business, I would get in touch directly with these AliExpress suppliers. We'd start talking, trying to figure out and negotiate pricing, figuring out faster shipping, what we can do with custom packaging, slowly easing into that. And then eventually a couple of them became friends. So when I flew to Guangzhou in China about a year and a half ago, that's when actually almost 2 years ago now, it's crazy. A little over a year and a half ago, I flew there and I was able to meet multiple suppliers. I was able to talk with them all the time via Skype, mostly WhatsApp, and communicate with these people and build those relationships. So now, as I've been, moved back to the US after traveling around for so long, came here and I started meeting a bunch of people in the e-commerce space, people with warehouses, people who own third-party fulfillment center companies, where I can now use these different warehouses to house my products, and work with private suppliers who I don't have to deal with the warehouse. I don't have to lease out space and whatever. They're the ones dealing with that, and they're connected to the manufacturer. So there's different ways and different relationships you have to build, but it does get a little bit more complex if you're holding inventory. But that is the route I've gone, because as you develop in your business, you make more money, you build more relationships, you just get more connections, and you're able to do it on a bigger scale, and you have money to invest into it. Now you can start putting some money towards that, which is overall just going to amplify the entire business, okay? So let's continue on here. This is a question I get a lot, but is Shopify really the best platform to use? And it's kind of funny because, a lot of what I do is, Shopify dropshipping. I don't, again, really dropship much. However, Shopify is the platform that I use 80 to 85% of the time. So yes, I believe, especially for someone who's new to dropshipping, maybe that's you. If you're new to dropshipping, Shopify is going to be the best for you. I'll tell you why. It's the cheapest, almost. It's the easiest to navigate, and it has the easiest integrations with everything. It is very beginner friendly. There is probably thousands, maybe tens of thousands of tutorials on how to do this and that, how to lay out your website, connect apps and the payment processors all over YouTube, a little bit less with other platforms. However, Shopify is definitely not the biggest. You have places like WooCommerce you can host privately through GoDaddy. Most of our stuff is held on WordPress, which is a much bigger website than Shopify. And when I say most of my stuff, that's most of my stuff that is not on Shopify, which is only a few things, okay? So WordPress just offers a little bit more uniqueness, in my opinion. And again, I always try to stray away from the feel of dropshipping. So for me, if I can do that by building out a much more customized site that just looks much better and nobody's ever really experienced that, well, that helps that customer experience, in my opinion. So long story short, yes, I do recommend Shopify, especially if you're getting started. I still use it to this day. It's very easy. It's simple, okay? Now, I want to talk about exactly what I look for in a product, because as I just mentioned with ordering products and sourcing from places, I'm going to give you all those resources inside of here. People are going to say, why am I making this video? It's because this is the breakdown of everything in one that I did not have in the beginning. And this video alone is not going to make you successful. I feel like you should know enough to recognize that. You need to go chase information. People are trying to spend money on their business directly, but they won't invest into learning other things. For an example, you can't go replace the radiator in your car if you don't know how to replace it. Why would you buy a radiator first and try to do it? It's not going to make sense. You're going to waste your time and money. So this is a guide. This is a resource for people getting started. That's why I'm making this, okay? So what I look for in a product, I'm looking for the first thing out of four. First thing, availability. Is it in stores? One of the huge dog products that I've sold, and one of the products in the more women's health niche, you cannot find in stores. So that's cool to me because I feel like it's more exclusive. It's that exclusivity where someone can't buy it and they haven't seen it before. So in my opinion, in my head, how I think about that, that is a wow factor. It's a one-off product, and it is hard to find those. But if I'm doing product research and I find a product that I don't see in stores, I haven't heard of or seen, that's usually a good indication because maybe other people haven't as well. Okay. Number two that I'm looking for is a product pricing gap, usually from competitors. The biggest competitor you're going to have is Amazon. Okay. People always ask me, why doesn't someone order off of Amazon instead of your site? Well, they don't think that far ahead. Your ad is great. They want your exact product. Like it's someone's just going to buy it right then and there. Why do you buy a sweatshirt from Gucci? Because it says Gucci on it. I don't know. I mean, I don't have one, but I would assume, right? So you're looking for that price gap. So for an example, if you're sourcing a product, whatever supplier you're using, and I'll explain a couple that I use in a moment, but if you're sourcing it and you get it for $3 and you see it on Amazon for $5.99, it's just not a big enough gap, because you're gonna have to spend a lot of money on marketing to acquire that customer, and you're gonna have to spend money hosting your business. So you're gonna have to mark it up much higher than Amazon. But if it's $3 and Amazon's really only coming in at like 9, 10, 11, 12, you can easily market to 15. It can be higher than Amazon, no problem. But if it's like drastic, like everybody else and in every store sells it cheaper, it still doesn't mean you can't sell it. It's just not going to be, in my opinion, as much of a banger product. That's kind of how I think about it. So a price gap, again, it's not something where you have to have all of these or have to have one. It's just ideally, right? It's one of those things we look for. Now, I always want to make sure a product is selling. I am not someone frequently, unless it's a brand of mine, who creates a product, okay? I'm someone who takes something that I know is working and I improve upon it. So I'm looking for a catalyst. And that could mean going on AliExpress, the free website you guys can use to check things out, and filtering different products by orders. I want to see if orders are increasing on certain products. You can go on Amazon, look at a bestseller list, and to this day, my favorite telltale sign is seeing an ad, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. I want to see an ad that has a bunch of engagement. So I'll give you an example. I had a product, I think I started it in February. It was really March and April when it blew up, okay? In those couple of months that I was running it, we did about $700,000 in sales, okay? This ad post blew up. Why? First, you cannot get that product in stores. You cannot. Product pricing gap. I get it for $33, it was $33 to $34, $20 after I ordered a bunch of it as inventory, so huge difference there in the margin, but nobody was selling it for under like 60 to 70 bucks, even on Amazon, so there's a big price gap. Plus, I had already seen multiple ads starting to pop off. None of them had done too crazy, but I knew this was about to blow up. I could feel it. I was like, this is a dope product. I was selling it for $89.99, so a little bit higher ticket. Keep in mind, I was originally getting it for $34. Then we dropped the price of the product cost down to about $20.50 because I ordered it. I started ordering that, and that price was slowly getting driven down even more. So it was really cool because the actual ad post, right, the one main page post that I used on there, went from 0 to 18 million views. It was a video ad, 18 million video views with about 78,000 comments in 2 months. If you see an ad that has millions of views and tens of thousands of comments, it is working. I guarantee you, it is working. So we did a lot of that. We tried to drive up the numbers. We did a little bit of like foreign ads to cheaper countries that usually wouldn't purchase, but just to build some more data. We didn't do anything too heavy on the end of engagement. It was just getting shared like crazy. 78,000 comments. People were tagging their friends. It was going ballistic, right? This was a viral product. I mean, I made a whole video of why I lost that business that would have made me at least $1 million profit this year. A lot of stuff happened, business partner issues, payment processor issues. So always beware of that. There's other issues that'll pop up. But regardless, I mean, that was a prime example of something that can work really well. And usually I'll have like 2 to 3 of those a year, okay? So, I didn't even figure out naming this one. Anyway, this is quadrant 4. Can it be an impulse purchase? This is the way I think about it. I want someone to immediately buy. It's not like I'm selling them a car. This is not a Toyota Camry. This is a $20 product or a $50 product. So I kind of think, is this something that someone could validate making an impulse purchase on? So I always try to make my customers or potential customers feel a certain way via the use of my ad copy. So like what I'm saying inside of my ad, right? The words, like am I making them feel a certain way? For an example, a product I've sold is the LED dog collar. It's basically a collar for dogs that lights up. We give a very scary, accurate statistic of how many dogs die every year by being hit by cars. And we kind of spin it like they can't be seen at night, and it's a whole safety thing. So someone can validate an impulse purchase because it is a safety thing. There's statistics, it's scary, and it's not that expensive of a product. So that's just one example for you. So for everyone who's gonna be asking where I source products, I don't use AliExpress as of about 3.5 months ago. The place that I start when I still wanna drop ship, I use Silk Road because in my opinion, it has faster shipping, which is the best part, but the product pricing is usually the same, sometimes a little bit cheaper. So it makes more sense, but they have auto fulfillment. So the thing is when you're getting 20 orders a day, and we exceeded the camera's time limit, but if you're getting like 20 orders a day and you're sourcing off AliExpress, the problem becomes now you have to fulfill each order individually. Even through Oberlo, where it's somewhat automated, you're gonna spend an average of about 60 seconds to 120 seconds per order. I've done this over and over again throughout the years. It is gonna take a minute or two per order. So now if you're getting 20 orders, 50 orders, hundreds of orders a day, there's no way you can do it yourself. So now you have to pay for a virtual assistant, commonly known as a VA, or someone which is gonna run you $4 an hour, 5, 10, whatever. Usually I'm paying like $4 to $5 an hour. So they're just filling the orders. But if they have to spend 4 hours a day doing that, or even 3, that's a lot of money. You're talking hundreds of dollars a month, getting up towards 1,000. So through Silk Road, it's like $50 for the plan that has auto fulfillment. So for me, that's why it was worth it. It cut out the cost on VA, which I was spending like $8,000 a year on virtual assistants. So bye-bye for at least the virtual assistants who do fulfillment. So yeah, that's kind of the main thing from a product. Now, the way that I run my ads, I made my first $10,000 month on Shopify was actually via Instagram influencers. So a lot of people don't know that. I was doing shout outs. So I was basically renting space off of big Instagram pages. That's just how I got started because I used to grow big Instagram pages. So for me, it wasn't that hard. I kind of knew what worked. So then when I started transitioning into Facebook, it was a lot of frustration. It was a lot of failure. I actually ended up going broke, lost a lot of money. And eventually when I started to figure it out, many, many months later, after buying many, many courses and attending 2 in-person seminars, which costed a lot, not only for the seminar, but also to travel there to get to it, I started learning and it started working for me. The cool thing is it's more consistent than anything else in my opinion, and it's much more scalable. So I've been able to use Facebook to drive millions and millions and millions of dollars. I mean, probably about $10 million worth of sales online through Facebook ads that I have run. So that's in revenue, but all of that is specifically through Facebook. So like 98% of everything I do with e-commerce, the front end of that is Facebook ads. So I want to kind of give you a couple points, couple ways to, again, get the ball rolling for you guys who might be new, who want to go build a Shopify store, or we can build you out one. We can do the product research and make sure that you're not spending money on a bad product. Then you can just start the ads, okay? So here's how you would do that. Step 1, finding your audience, your ideal customer. These are actually known as interests inside of Facebook. So for an example, let's say I go camping, okay? Let's say I'm the person who likes to go camping. Well, camping is an interest, outdoors is definitely an interest, like nature, hiking, glamping, which is like glamour camping or something where you're in like a nice tent or something. But all these different things, and I've sold different products like hammocks in this space and stuff. You go find a bunch of these. As soon as you put in a few, Facebook's gonna start suggesting dozens others. So for an example, if I'm doing some sort of like battery for a camera or a big microphone, you can do Canon, Nikon, or whatever it is. You can have like photography, cinematics, like all these different things that relate. Once you put in a few, Facebook's gonna spew it out. So find that audience, start targeting them, but then you have to test it, right? So launch your initial tests. The budget varies. So when you're on Facebook, there's a couple different options of how you can spend the money to start reaching people. The most basic is you're spending a daily budget. This is usually $5 a day or more. The thing is, there's all sorts of different strategies that people are gonna say, but you need to start out very simple, okay? I know this just because it's worked for me. I'm sure someone else said something else worked for them, but I know that this works, so I'm gonna tell you it. So if you're selling a product for $30, start with $5 or $10 a day budgets. Don't go do 50, don't do 100, and don't do $1. Right? You need to start at least $5 to $10 a day. The way that I like to think about it is whatever I'm selling the product at should be roughly 3 times, so triple how much my daily budget is, because I like to let my ads run for 3 to 4 days before I make a decision of if they're working. So if the product's $100, I'm gonna run like $30 a day ads. If it's 60, you're looking at $20 a day ads. 50, maybe some 10s and some 15s. So I hope that makes sense. That's the budget. Launch those, get like 4 or 5 going, each with different interests, and start testing. Okay, then you're gonna have to analyze the data after it's optimized, which is what we call the optimization period, where you have a couple days to let these ads run, you see how they perform. This is where things get tricky, and this is why this video will not share everything. Because if I was to explain Facebook, it would take about 40 hours of sitting down, which is exactly what the 30-Day Academy is. However, I'm not just sitting down explaining it, I'm doing live examples. I'm showing you on my own stores that are making hundreds of thousands a month, so it's something where I had to spend months creating that, if that makes sense. But essentially the idea is you're going to sit there for a couple days, not do anything with your ads. You can start doing more research, practice on other things, work on your store. And from that point, analyze that data. Look to see what's working. If something's not working, but a couple other ad sets are, turn off the ones that aren't working. Get rid of the bad ad spend, okay? And then from there, let's say you launched 5 ads and a couple of them are working, a couple of them aren't, so you kill those ones that aren't. But the ones that are working, start getting multiple sales. 2, 3, 5, 10 orders. Well, now you want to start going specific. So this might not make sense for people who are just getting started with e-commerce, but you're essentially going to want to narrow down your customer. So if you're targeting camping, but you're doing everyone in camping, and then you get 5 purchases, well, you can actually look at the data. You can break it down and see, okay, 4 of the people who bought it were women, but I spent a bunch of money on male. So I'm going to get rid of male. You're going to duplicate the ad set and only run it to female. Then you can go specific based on their age. Are they on Facebook, Instagram, Android, iPhone? What country are they from? All sorts of different things. You can get even more specific. So that's where you really start to get very narrow with those ad sets that you're launching. So that's kind of the gist, as simple as I could make it, because I always tend to ramble on and get very technical with Facebook just because that's what I do all day and it's fun to me. But those are 4 steps on kind of what you would need to get the ball rolling, okay? Now, I want to always retract everything I say back to a very basic point. For those of you who either are not doing e-commerce or you're just getting started or something's not working for you, please focus on 2 things. You only need 2 things when you're just starting: your product and your marketing. It has to be a good product. Look, I know people who are probably pretty good at ads to the point where they could make money, but they just haven't found that winning product. Therefore, they're not getting in sales and being profitable. At the same time, I've seen this over and over again. I've literally had people DM me on Instagram a picture of their product, okay? A picture, that one that I told you did 700,000 in 2 months. I literally had multiple people for it, which is funny. Send me pictures of their product and their store, which their store was using the ads, the videos, and the pictures that I filmed, that I had my content team film, that we had custom made. Then they said it wasn't a winning product. Like, I can't get it working. I'm about to switch products. I can't find a winning product. And I don't really tell people what I do specifically just because there's not really a point. You know, it's the whole teach a man to fish versus give a man a fish and he'll eat for the rest of his life or whatever. But essentially, they think that the product is the issue when in reality it's their marketing. And it gets very in-depth with marketing. It can be very overwhelming, very complicated. That's why you need a lot more guidance on it. Okay, I've made other videos just on Facebook on the channel, but I would suggest if you're just getting started and you want a complete walkthrough, just do the trial. You don't have to go through the full academy. Do the trial of that just because it will answer all your questions. You can watch some of the YouTube videos we have. But if you focus on these 2 things, even if your website looks like complete ass and it's just crappy, just the worst you could ever imagine, it doesn't matter. I've literally done this as a test with my friend. We're like, hey, let's put a good product that we already know is working on the worst possible website that has spelling errors, that's like aggravates you to navigate, like buttons don't link properly. Like, it was funny. You could still purchase on it though, and we were sending people to the home page instead of the product page, so they had to like go find the product. It was funny because it still made sales and it was a little bit profitable, but it still worked, right? Concept was proven because it was a good product and I know how to do the marketing. So those are 2 things you're going to want to focus on just to start getting the ball rolling. Again, if you guys want help with the product, the store, and knocking that end of it out completely, which will save you probably 10, 20 hours worth of time, we can actually build you out a custom design store. I don't know if it's open when you're watching this because this will be on the channel forever, but you guys can check that out in the link in the description down below. We're going to be building that out. You know, we go through, we work on the project. It's direct. You know, this is something where you place that order and we start working on the project. We do research. Everything is different. Everything is custom. We're building that out for you the same way that I do with my stores that do huge, huge numbers. Okay. So drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be coming at you hopefully in the next video with an exact date and time for that live stream we're going to do, like I promised, for Q4, okay? Because I want to make sure that you guys have the opportunity to get your questions answered beyond just like trying to DM me on Instagram, which I apologize, but I just don't get to every DM. I'm busy working all day, so it's always tough to do that. But I always try to make it a point to respond to as many comments as I can on the YouTube videos. So go ahead and drop a comment here on this video if you have a question on anything, if you'd like help, or maybe you have a topic you want us to discuss in the live stream. I would be more than happy to help you out. All I ask in return is that you drop a like down below to help this video reach more people. Okay, so with that being said, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Don't hesitate to ask. Make sure to take advantage of the resources that are linked in the description below. Even using Silk Road, which is completely free to start sourcing. Just compare the pricing of your products on AliExpress to there. I know some people want to use like drop shipping agents and other things, but definitely start with that just so you can see where you're getting the fastest shipping and the cheapest pricing, and then just go with that route. Okay. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was a good tutorial and kind of walked you step by step through how to get started if you're new to this e-commerce space. And as well, to all the new people on the channel who may or may not be watching this, this is a basic overview of what I do, right? So selling physical products without touching them. Even if I'm holding inventory, I'm not touching them. Okay. So I hope that answers that question. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'd appreciate it if you drop a like. And with that being said, I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace.